Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experience last weekend at the WWE Backlash event in Tampa, Florida. And we're going to talk about the show, we're going to talk about the experience, we're going to talk about the merchandise, best match, worst match. It's going to be a fun video, and yeah, I'm very excited, and we're going to get into it. Alright, so before we talk about the show itself, I want to talk about the experience beforehand. Actually getting to be outside and watch part of the pre-show, the kickoff show live. They had the stage set up in a Thunder Alley outside the arena there in Tampa where the Tampa Bay Lightning play. And I guess Thunder Alley is where Tampa Bay Lightning does like their pre-game parties and stuff. And so they had the pre-show set out there. It was a really cool experience getting to see that. At one point, we were hanging out close to the arena, and we got to see them walk several people out for the pre-show. The Usos, Michael Cole, Corey Graves, Big E. And then once the show actually started, we were on the other side of Thunder Alley, and when I just looked around, it was an amazing scene just to see people there for the pre-show for a smaller show like Backlash, and the energy was off the charts. Like, it felt like a WrestleMania type environment. Like, I could compare like watching College Game Day during college football season. Like, it's that level of energy with the live pre-show and the live crowd. It was really, really cool. I did take a video just to kind of capture that moment, and we're going to insert that now, and then we're going to go on to the main card.
As far as his preparation, his execution, his intensity, he had all the tools. He's a young guy, and I felt like if I could take him for a year or two, I'd be able to.
Alright, so the show itself kicked off with an absolute banger of a match. Seth freaking Rollins versus Braun Breaker. A match that was probably originally set to happen at WrestleMania before injuries and different things took their toll on the situation. And they had a great match. Like, this was a WrestleMania quality match. It was both mine and my friend LJ that I went with. It was both of our personal favorite match of the night. Seth came out like a house of fire. Braun Breaker came out looking like a machine. There was a lot of great back and forth. I know at one point, Braun Breaker threw Seth into the crowd, and Seth does a flying clothesline. I believe it was off the barricade back on the Braun, and the crowd was all into this match. Seth's going all over the place. Braun is looking like a powerhouse. Seth's looking like Shawn Michaels out there. One of my favorite spots of the match, and I think LJ actually had a video of this that I'm going to put in here. Seth goes for a top rope suplex on Breaker. Breaker actually counters into a standing Falcon Arrow on the Seth. Really cool spot. In the end, interference from the Vision, Logan Paul and Austin Theory cost Seth the match, but still it doesn't take away from how incredible this thing was. It was my favorite match of the night. I'm pretty sure it was LJ's favorite. I think it was a lot of people's favorite match of the night. And yeah, we have some clips that we're going to put in now. Alright, so the next matchup was the United States Championship match that saw Trick Williams defend against Sami Zayn. And unfortunately, we used this match as our bathroom and concession break, and it's nothing against Trick or Sami. It's just when you look at the card, we didn't want to miss Braun versus Seth. We didn't want to miss the Danhausen match. We didn't want to miss John Cena. We didn't want to miss Io versus Asuka, and we didn't want to miss the main event. So, unfortunately, Sami and Trick drew the short straw here. But you know what, we saw the match was still good. We got back to our seats. Time to see Sami hit the hill of a kick on Little Yachty on the outside, and of course the finish, we saw Trick retain over Sami. And yeah, I love Sami. I felt like I was the only person cheering for him at points. And LJ would chant whoop that Trick, I'd be like, let's go Sammy. As much as I like both guys, still pulling for Sammy. Sami Zayn, ride or die, ole ole ole. And but LJ looks at me and says, "You're in the wrong crowd. Go back to West Palm Beach and watch AEW," which is a reference to AEW's Fairway the Hell show that was on at the same time. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like both of these guys. I like that they got more time than they did at Mania. But and I just they drew the short straw here for us, this being the only thing we were okay with missing for the show. Trick's gonna be a major star. It's gonna be very exciting to see where he goes. I love Sammy, and like I never understood the hate that he gets for winning the U.S. title from Carmelo Hayes. It just I never understood it, which is why I pulled for Sammy in this feud as much as I like Trick, just because I don't understand the Sammy hate or the point of it or what it accomplishes. But that's just me. If you like Trick, that's fine, because Trick's great and he's gonna be a major star, has an incredibly bright future. And of course, we have to talk about the Gingerbread Man funeral the night before. Is one of the funniest segments I've seen in a long time. It is up there with the level of the Jericho and Kevin Owens Festival of Friendship from all those years ago. If you haven't seen it, check that out. But yeah, we don't have any clips from that, so we're just going to move on to the next match. Alright, so the next matchup at Backlash was Danhausen and his mystery partner against The Miz and Kit Wilson. And man, who cannot love Danhausen right now? So funny, so entertaining. I like what Paul Heyman said in an interview, that even though Danhausen may be his cup of tea, even if it's not your cup of tea, he's the relief, because if you're just going heavy blow, big shot, all intensity all the time, it's going to burn the audience out. He has that break that we need, and he kills it. Absolutely kills it, and I think he has an advantage from playing the character on the indies and in AEW for so long before coming to WWE, and WWE is letting him be that character and what he knows it is, but on a much grander scale and production value and budget, so it's really awesome to see. This match was a lot of fun. I loved the pre-match promo that was filmed like a classic Universal Monster video trailer thing. And I loved the whole thing. Danhausen coming out with the coffin car, his partner coming out of the machine being a Minihausen. Which LJ told me that he looked it up and that the guy who was the Minihausen that was his actual partner was El Torito from back in the day with the Matadors. Olé! That sort of thing. Which is really cool to see. And then, like, of course, throughout the match, eventually Kit Wilson throws Minihausen back into the machine, closes the lid, and makes some noise. And Minihausen comes back out with a bunch of friends, and they attack Kit Wilson. Miz hits the skull crushing finale on Minihausen, and his feet are just dangling for a little bit there. Which is really funny, worth the price of admission alone if you have a bad sense of humor like me and LJ do. And then, there was a moment where Minihausen does a suicide dive. I'm going to put that clip in, continue to go wee in the background. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of entertaining. They win after Danhausen curses the fire extinguisher and Miz sprays it in his own face, and they're able to get the pin. It was a great match. It was a lot of fun. It was a great comedic relief. I know that there was a lot of anticipation for who Danhausen's partner was going to be. But you look at Danhausen's character, it being a Minihausen makes sense, and then the relief. Like, we thought like another partner was going to come out of the machine after Kit Wilson threw Minihausen back in, but it being an army of Minihausens just fits the character so well, and it was great, and it was fun. Yes, it was not what we expected to be Danhausen's partner, but it worked so well with the character, and you can't ask more for that. And so here are our clips from the Danhausen match now.
I would love to marry you all over again.
I just want to say, who the hell do you think you are? Sticking go! I am cursed. Danhausen, I will be your mentor. There is no curse. You're not the red team. You're not a part of this family. You are toxic. Danhausen demands a match with them.
How about a Backlash if you find a tag team partner for match of choice?
All right.
You really think this is gonna work?
Whoa! Free your nice. It's Black Door Sporting.
right, so the next match on the card was Io Sky versus Asuka. And in the weeks leading up to this, I heard a lot of people say that this card for Backlash was kind of lame, but then I looked at it, Seth versus Breaker was going to be good, the Danhausen match would be great comedic relief. Roman versus Jacob Fatu was going to be good. And of course, I looked at this match as a potential sleeper hit because, I mean, nobody's talking about it, but they let Io and Asuka go out there and cook, which is what they needed to do. And they had a great match. They won the best matches of the entire night. And they really let them go out there. This match was really good. Early on, there was a lot of "We Want Kyrie" chants from the fans. The fans chanting, of course, about Kyrie Sane, Asuka's former tag team partner, and the fellow Japanese countrywoman of Asuka and Kyrie Sane, of Asuka and Io, excuse me. And they wanted her back. We all want her back, chanting "We Want Kyrie." And I thought they were going to hijack the match and derail the whole thing. But props to Io and Asuka for overcoming that and getting the crowd back into it, because they were chanting "This is awesome" before it was over, and the match was awesome. Because those two put it all on the line. One of my favorite moments, one of the best counters for the Mist I've ever seen. They're on the announce table. Asuka goes for the Mist on Io. Io picks up it's either a laptop or a folder or something and blocks the Mist, and it was game over for Asuka from there. But what a journey. Great back and forth action. That Japanese strong style stuff that these two are so good at. I mean, this was great. After the match, a very emotional hug between Io and Asuka, as it looks like Asuka will be riding off into the sunset, at least for now, and this was like the passing of the torch. And if this is the end of the road for Asuka, what a great career. You look at everything she's accomplished: SmackDown Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion, NXT Women's Champion, Women's Tag Champion, Money in the Bank winner, winner of the first Women's Royal Rumble. I mean, done it all, won it all. A first ballot Hall of Fame resume for Asuka. And congratulations, Asuka, if this is your retirement, on a great career, and we hope to see you again. But if we don't, we wish you the best of luck in retirement. And for Io, the sky's the limit. She's already been champion a few times, but she can just keep climbing because she's that good. And this was a great match. And yeah, there's not much left to say here. We have a clip of Asuka and Io hugging. I think that's all we have for this one, so I'm going to put that in. Alrighty, the next segment on the show is the appearance by John Cena, and I'm gonna get emotional here and just talk serious about this because I grew up in an era where John Cena was the WWE. He wasn't just the face of the company, he was the company. Everything revolved around John Cena, and I think, like, we all went through that period there, all of us who grew up in that era anyway, where we may have rebelled against John Cena some. Like, I cheered for the Nexus some, I cheered for CM Punk some. But in the end, we always came back to John Cena because of who he is, what he represents, what he meant to the WWE and to our childhood. And I really wanted to go to a stop on the farewell tour last year, and I never made it to a stop on the farewell tour. Things never worked out. So for me, this was my John Cena farewell tour, and I don't know when I'm going to get to go to another show, much less another one that John Cena is going to be on. And so I actually didn't take any videos during this. We have a few videos of his entrance. Those were all from LJ. Because for me, it was about being in that moment one last time when that iconic music hits, when he comes out, the energy, the emotion. Like Bray Wyatt said in his Wrestling is a Love Story poem, being in that moment that we are all in, and like thinking about that, not wanting to watch that moment for a viewfinder, but wanting to watch it with my own eyes and listen to it with my own ears and feel it with my body, experience John Cena one last time, because I don't know when or if I'll get to see him at a show again. And I hope I do, but if I don't, I just wanted to take in that moment. And it was so special, and I did get emotional, because for me it was like saying goodbye to my childhood, saying goodbye to a hero, saying goodbye to a friend, and yeah, it was great. I was so happy, so stoked to get to be there for that, and to stag one of the cool shirts. And we'll talk about the merch in a minute. But John Cena comes out, he announces the John Cena Classic, which is going to be really interesting because he says that even if a wrestler is eliminated from the tournament, the fans can vote for him to move on. And I can see that being great for storylines, character development, heel turns. Like if a wrestler loses and gets voted in, but the guy who lost doesn't get voted, or the guy who won gets voted out, doesn't get voted in to continue. I can see him turning heel about that. So there's a lot of great opportunities to build stars and characters and storylines, and I hope that the belt for it is a spinner, because it needs to be a spinner, because do 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 do. But yeah, it was really great to see John Cena, and like even if he was just cutting a promo, even if he was just making an announcement, to be there for me, this was my John Cena farewell tour stop, and I just like soaked in every moment. I got a few pictures, didn't take any videos, just sat there and enjoyed the moment. And like, I'm so glad that I did like that, just to have that feeling one last time. And we love you, John. Thank you for everything. And yeah, if you ever decide to have one more match, man, I'm gonna do everything I can to be there for it. Um, but yeah, it was great to see John Cena, and of course they used him as the segue into the last match, which is what they did at WrestleMania. So I mean, it's time for the main event. But first, here are the clips from John Cena's entrance that LJ took, and then it's time for the main event. Now it's time to talk about the main event from Backlash. That was my best Danhausen impression, by the way. But yeah, the main event saw Roman Reigns, my OTC hometowner from Pensacola, defending the World Heavyweight Championship against his cousin Jacob Fatu in another chapter in the Bloodline saga. And I thought the match was good. There was a lot of great action. I love the story of like Roman hitting all of his best shots and Jacob Fatu like kicking out at one and just kicking out after a spear, a Superman punch, and the look on Roman's face, Roman's selling it like, what the hell do I have to do to beat this guy? And it's a story we've seen played out before, but it was done really well here. Um, there were a few spots I want to talk about. Like, there was one crazy spot. Jacob Fatu went for the swanton off the ropes. Roman got his knees up, and Fatu lands on his knees. Roman sold that like he actually hurt his knee, and I thought he did. Just looking at it in person, it looked nasty. LJ has a video of that I'm going to put in after I get done talking here, as well as clips from Roman's entrance. But yeah, that looked like an incredibly rough um, thing for Roman's knees to take. But there's been no reports that his knee's actually injured, but it looked nasty. I think it's Jacob Fatu, such a big man, coming with such force, and maybe Roman's just really good at selling. It's probably a combination of both. But the match goes on. Jacob Fatu had already kicked out of a couple of spears and a couple of Superman punches. He has Roman in the Tongan Death Grip, which, of course, they talked about in the build-up. You don't use that on family. Roman Reigns impression. But Roman rips the turnbuckle off, and he's able to get Jacob Fatu off of him. He pushes Jacob Fatu into the exposed steel turnbuckle, and then hits him with a spear. And 1, 2, 3, and your OTC retains the World Heavyweight Championship after a good match. I agree with LJ that it could have been longer, but it was decent for what it was. It wasn't a bad match by any means. I just wish it would have been longer. The aftermath was really confusing because Jacob Fatu really goes to town on Roman after the match with a post-match assault. And we know the Usos are there because, like I said, we saw them walk out to be on the pre-show, but they don't come out to help Roman. That made no sense to me or LJ because it's like, if they're here, why not use them? I know they did the full beatdown on Raw the following Monday, but like, it was just a weird ending to an otherwise okay match, except for it being a little bit too short. Of course, Roman's entrance was pure aura. I'll talk about that as well because that's really, really impressive. How Roman has gone from like hated hero to revered villain, and it's just incredible how that works. But yeah, that was it for Backlash. It was a great show, very fun night. My favorite match of the night was Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins. I've given my least favorite to Sammy versus Trick, unfortunately, but that's just because, like I said, we use that as like our concession and bathroom break match. And it sucks, and that's how that had to be, but we did get to see, I think the best parts of it was the hell of a kick to Little Yachty and the finish, so no harm, no foul there. But yeah, that was Backlash. It was a great, my ninth PLE attended. So yeah, very excited to get to do this video and talk about. Very grateful that I get to run. I'm grateful to LJ for the invite and his wife for the hospitality, letting me stay with them. So yeah, we're gonna insert the clips from that match now, and then we're gonna talk about the merch. Alright, so I got two pieces of merchandise from Backlash. One is the John Cena Tampa Bay shirt that I'm wearing for this video. As you can see, it's got John Cena, the typical symbol. The Tampa Bay lightning effect is what sold me on it. Which, okay, I love hockey. I'm a Nashville Predators fan, but this was just really, really cool, and I love it when they do special theme stuff like that. And like I said, this is my John Cena farewell tour stop, even though it's not technically his farewell tour anymore. This is, for me, this was it, so I had to get the shirt. I love the back. It has the Backlash logo and the "You Can't See Me." So yeah, I got this. I'm very happy that I got it. And, yeah, I'm going to show you the other thing I got here, one of the Backlash mini belts. Okay, so this was the other piece of merch. I got the Backlash mini belt. It's in a pirate treasure chest, because, Tampa, they have to have a pirate theme somewhere. You see up top here, it says Backlash Tampa, has the date, May 9th, 2026. So yeah, let's get the belt out of the treasure chest, and let's take a look. Alright, so you open it up, it has the "I was there," and then let's look at this belt itself. It's a gorgeous belt. The blue strap, the gold plating, the Backlash logo on the side plates there. It is an exact miniature replica of the big $700 replica they had. And yeah, I'm going to take it out here and show you the design on the strap and the back and all that. Alright, so here's the back side of the belt. You can see the Backlash Tampa looks really cool on the fastener there. It says Tampa, Florida there. Backlash over here. Of course, the inside, the blue back with the Backlash Tampa, May 9th, 2026. So yeah, really cool belt. I like that it even has the official merchandise sticker that the big belts have on the inside. Yeah, just really awesome piece here. I want to show you something else cool on the other side of the fastener, where it says Backlash Tampa. It has it numbered 193 of 200. So they only made 200 of these supposedly, and I have number 193. So that's a really, really cool piece of merch. And yeah, it is a very, very gorgeous mini belt. Alright, so as you can see, it's getting dark out here, so I'm going to wrap this up. Backlash 2026, Backlash, Tampa. Great show, fun event. Again, grateful to LJ for the invite and him and his wife for the hospitality. Transportation to and from the airport, letting me stay with them. Letting me go to Universal Studios on a comp ticket while I was there. That's when I made the Back to the Future video that you saw. The Doc Brown train. Grateful to my wife for letting me go as part of my birthday. My birthday was just a few days after Backlash, so this was just a wonderful experience. It would have been better if she would have came, but other than that, this was great. I do want to say a story about the mini belt. Me and LJ went to the Backlash Superstore. I got the Cena shirt. Checked on the price for the mini belt. It was $215 versus $125 for the one I got at the last PLE I went to, which was Bad Blood in Atlanta. And so I told her that, and I left the store, got my shirt, and then she called and said to go get the mini belt and said happy birthday. And so my advice to you, if you're looking for the right woman, marry someone who says buy the mini belt. But I'm grateful to my wife for her being so gracious about that and for letting me do the trip, and grateful to God for blessing me to be able to do this. And yeah, this was a great trip, great opportunity. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. And if I don't see you next time, then you are cursed.